say your last name for me? I've been practicing it, but I
Kapuscinski.
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 There you go.
There we go.
Kapuscinski.
Got it. All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm Jake Noonan, host of the Chair 9 podcast. Today I'm sitting down with President and CEO of Dodge Ridge, Karl, remind me one more time. Kapuscinski. Yeah, that's a tongue twister right there. But anyways, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then if you'd like to just walk us through your history in the ski industry and how you got into holding this position.
Sure. No, thank you. Again, thank you for having me. I've listened to a couple of the podcasts myself, and really enjoyed the series. So great job to all of you that are responsible for putting this on. So thank you. My name is Karl Kapuscinski, as we said earlier. I'm originally from Vermont. Currently, my position, my situation is I am CEO of the California Mountain Resort Company, which consists of 4 ski areas: Mountain High, China Peak, Dodge Ridge, and Bear Valley. A little history: growing up in Vermont, I grew up at a ski area called Mount Scottney Ski Area. It's now a community-run ski resort. At the time, it was commercial back in the 70s and early 80s. So I was what you might call a ski area rat. You know, you've heard of gym rats, people that are in gyms either working out or shooting basketballs all day. I was on a ski area all the time. So from the time I was 5-6 years old, I was hanging out at a ski area. So my best friend's parents, growing up in grade school, elementary school, owned the Mount Scottney Ski Resort, which afforded me opportunities that probably a lot of people are, I shouldn't say probably, I know a lot of people at age 7, 8, 9, 10 would not have had, as far as getting behind the scenes, understanding the operations, and so on and so forth. My first job in the ski industry was paid job, I should say. I was hanging around doing odds and ends up until this point, but at 13, I actually started making snow and working at the ski resort for a paycheck. Back then, child labor laws weren't as strict as they are today, or Vermont wasn't as strict as California is today. So that was my first paying job, and through that time, I pretty much did everything from make snow to teach freestyle skiing. That was my love was the freestyle skiing. Obviously, I was, you look at the tricks and what people do today. I was nowhere near what the kids can do today, but back then it was fun. And then lift operations, many, basically all departments through late elementary, high school, and during my college breaks, I would come back to Mount Scottney and work. Right after graduation from college, went to school in Connecticut. After coming back from college and graduating, I became the assistant mountain manager at Mount Scottney. Okay. And then a year and a half later, I got my first job running a ski resort called Hunt Hollow Ski Area. It's a private ski club right outside of Rochester, New York. So I was 23 at the time, I think. So I was one of, if not the youngest, general manager, ski area operators at that time. So that was a pretty cool job, and a great break and a great opportunity to be, at that age running my own ski area. So that was in upstate New York again. So did that for 5 years, and then I was recruited to go to Mountain High in Southern California, and I spent a year at Mountain High under the entrepreneur owner Terry Tognazzini. After about a year, after coming off of 5 years of running my own show, he was a very what's called involved owner. I decided, it was a great opportunity to go from a small area to an area that's doing almost 300,000 visits, but I wanted to go back and be able to run my own show again. And I was selected to be the executive director of Spirit Mountain in Minnesota. So I took that position and ran Spirit Mountain for 2.5 years, and I got a call from a group that was looking to purchase Mountain High, and this was in 1996. I got back to California and realized that that wasn't as far along as I thought it was going to be. But either way, I spent the next year working with Terry Tognazzini, the owner, along with a couple other groups, and eventually we put a group together to buy Mountain High in June of 1997. So that's kind of the start of my time out west. I've been with Mountain High now full-time since 1996 in an ownership position and the key or top management position since 1997. That's where that started. Through that time, we also we've been through different investor groups, different partners I've had along the way, and part of that included owning the management company that ran and operated Stevens Pass from 2011 to 2018. That was a fun 7-8 year experience. That's where I met my current wife, Audrey, who I think both of you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we met there, and then we sold that in 2018, and we're focused on Mountain High. And then about right after COVID, I got a call from Frank Helm, who was a longtime owner. He and Sally Helm, longtime owners of Dodge Ridge, who I had a long-standing relationship with for 20 plus years, and they were mentioning that they were in the process of evaluating whether they wanted to sell and move on, and wanted to know if I had interest, and obviously I did. So working with my current investor group, Envision Capital, we put together a deal and purchased Dodge Ridge in the August of 2021. So that was how that Dodge Ridge came about. Shortly thereafter, after driving up and down the 99 between Mountain High and Dodge Ridge, which is about 6 hours apart, I realized that there's one area in the middle between the two, and that was China Peak. So I called another good friend who I had, again, that long-term relationship with, Tim Cohey, and said, would you be interested in selling? And he and his partners were debated that and decided yes, they were. So in the following fall of, in 2022, let me get these dates straight. 2022, we purchased China Peak. So that was the start of the Cali Pass in 2020, the fall of 2022, and then this past year and a half ago, we said we really wanted one more, and we wanted to really be the closest area to the population base, closest snow to the population base from basically San Diego to Sacramento, and Bear Valley had been available. And after a fairly long negotiating period, we were able to, a little over a year ago, last November, close on that deal. So now we have the 4 resorts, hence the California Mountain Resort Company. So it's a nice package with 4 resorts that are the closest to the population base of San Diego to Sacramento, which is roughly 30 million people. Plus or take a couple million here or there, but it's something we're proud of, and as you know, the Cali Pass has really started to take off and become another option to the other mega passes that are out there with a more family-friendly vibe feel to them. So I'm very proud of what we've put together and what we have, and so far everything is worked out fairly well. It's always about the weather and snow, and it's been a little more challenging this year, but believe it or not, the northern resorts, China Peak, Dodge Ridge, and Bear Valley, are up fairly significantly over the last season. Mountain High, unfortunately, has suffered this year from its own fire that nearly burned it down, along with significant fires in Southern California that really disrupted the marketplace right after the Christmas holiday, and significant lack of snow and cold weather for the first third of the season. So it's been a little more challenging this year, but there's still a good 40-50% of the season left. So we're hoping that both places, both north and south, will continue strong and or rebound. And as we were talking off air, we have probably the largest storm we've seen so far, this snowstorm at least, that we've seen so far this winter, coming our way on Thursday into Friday. So right in time for the President's Day weekend and the ski week, which is next week. So right now, if you ask me, I'm feeling pretty good about where we are. So again, but thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sitting down and being willing to share your story. It's safe to say that your life has kind of revolved around the ski industry. Growing up, your first paid job as a 13-year-old doing odds and ends and making snow on the East Coast. Did you ever dream that this is what it would become? And when you went to college, I'm curious, was that on your mind? Is this you wanted to be in the ski industry?
Yes. I always wanted to own or operate a ski resort. My first, love, not for love, but the first goal in life was to be a Major League Baseball player. But obviously, I would, that wasn't good enough to do that, to be very blunt. But I did play in college, so we traveled to California to play for our spring trips and stuff, and that's where I was really exposed to California through those trips, and also the mountains. And I remember coming out here. We'd always come out in March and early March, and seeing the snow in the mountains, and then learning about the different ski areas that were here, and said, how cool would it be to be able to be here in California, which I really enjoyed in my time here, and do what I love to do, which would be run a ski resort. And so it was always a goal to be owner or operator of a ski resort, and it became a goal to be here on the West Coast if the opportunity allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people, I think, in your teens, right? And you said yourself you were a ski rat or a ski bum. There's kind of that language that goes along with it, and kind of a perception that's made. Can you kind of touch on that and talk about the transition from how being a ski rat or a ski bum can turn into a lifelong career like you've made it?
Sure. I probably should take a step back and refine that. I was never a ski, like kind of a ski bum type, where you go and you live out of your car, and you work in a department, and live kind of paycheck to paycheck. I moved very quickly, and always was focused on the management of the ski resorts. So I never packed up and said I'm going to go live in Steamboat and become a ski bum. I had a drawn out plan of what I wanted to do, and I had management responsibilities from the time I was 16 on, running crews, what would be snowmaking, lift maintenance, lift operations, I should say, or other things, or system mountain manager. So I really, but a lot of people, and I got a head start. I mean, there's a lot to this business, and like I said earlier, my opportunity to be able to hang around and be in the back offices at 7, 8, 10, 12 years old, and understand the workings of ski areas really was a huge advantage, or somebody who may not get that experience until their 20s or 30s. So I had a huge jump start on a lot of folks that do get it. So a lot of times people do become ski bums, realize they like it, become good at patrol or whatever else, instruction, and then work up the ladder that way. But they're usually in their late 20s, 30s when they realize that.
So it sounds as though you were very motivated from the very beginning, and you had this thought process. And again, you didn't go to or live the typical lifestyle of these, so to speak, ski bums. Did you ever feel like you were missing out, or did you know that your hard work was going to pay off when you weren't? Yeah. And
I don't know. I never felt like I was missing out. I was always very goal driven, and I had a goal, and I had a vision of what I wanted to accomplish. So that was more important. I don't want to suggest I didn't have some fun along the way. I did, but more importantly, I always kept the focus and the goal of what I wanted to accomplish, where I wanted to get to, in front of me. So, no, it's been a great experience, and not one thing I look back and I regret. I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. It's all been very, very positive.
Where was the moment that it clicked, where it was like, oh man, I finally reached my goals? Or are you still striving? Do they adapt over the years as you progress?
I think they adapt as different times you hit things. I remember the first day we opened at the little, I say little, but the ski area in Western New York, Hunt Hollow. The first day I got to the top of the mountain, and I rode my snowmobile up there and looked around and was opening. I was like, wow, I'm running my own ski area now. And I was 23, 24 at the time. And a little sidebar story to that, my mother was a big part of my life and helped a lot, and she helped me with my resumes and stuff like that. And the last resume she wrote before she passed on from cancer was the job I got. So that was kind of emotional when that day when I got to the top of the mountain and realized, wow, so that you have some of those wow moments. I mean, as we put together these 4 resorts into one, that was always a dream to put together a collection of ski areas When we were able to put all that together, that's another kind of wow. That's cool. That was a goal, and we've accomplished it. But you never sit back and say you made it, so to say. But there's wow moments along the way that that you've hit certain you have accomplished certain goals that you had strived to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. And with those wow moments and those positive things that you're talking about, with the weather kind of going back and forth as well, along with those wow moments, I guess there has to be moments of stressors. How over the years have you grown to work through those stressors, or what are some of those stressors that most people maybe don't understand?
No, it's I think it's like anything in life. It doesn't if it's something with a job, if it's something with your health, something with when you have something that comes up, you just have to deal with it. I remember sometimes during the drought years in the mid 2000s, coming right down to the last couple hours and not knowing how you're going to be able to make payroll, and you always figure something out. You just always you're focused on on accomplishing that goal and that task ahead of you, and you look back on it, and you're always more scared when you look back than when you're actually in it. I think you look back and say, "Wow, how do we get through that?" or "How did I get through that?" And people have always asked. I don't really, maybe because I've done it so long, been around it so long. I don't really get too high or too low on the weather. It's part of the business. It's part of what it's like farming. It's part of what we've all lived through and continue to live through. So if you get too high or too low, you would drive yourself crazy in this business, because you can get really excited, like we just said a few minutes ago about the forecast coming up, or you can get really depressed when it goes the other way. And it's best to try to stay as even keeled as possible, because again, at the end, it all levels out. So you have to approach it in that sense, and approach the task that's ahead of you. And then when you get through it, you can look back and maybe be scared then, but you better not be scared going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with being even keeled, something that I've noticed, and I would consider you to be very humble. There's been several times where you've been in the food line serving, and you've served me breakfast. How do you remain humble in a position like this? Is that just something that you've carried with you throughout, or?
Yeah, I don't. That's a great question. I don't really think of it. It's just I enjoy getting in and helping out. I enjoy being active. I enjoy being involved. I enjoy flipping burgers on a busy day, or helping set up the parking lot, or park cars or whatever. It's just part of the business that I guess is ingrained. And I've never looked at myself as being anything more than just the leader of the group, or trying to help the team move forward. I've always basically managed with a coaching mentality. I actually spent a lot of time in my life along with the ski industry of coaching baseball at various levels. So I've always taken on more of that mentality versus I'm somehow above or whatever else. Because at the end of the day, you're only as good as the people around you, and the people around you are very, very important. And I think if you think otherwise, you'll find out in a hurry that you're not going to be very successful. So you need to appreciate the people that are working with you and work together. Not I'm not. I don't see myself as anything more than just another part of the team.
Absolutely, and that clearly shines through. I've heard positive comments, and past guests on the podcast itself have said they see you out on the mountain, they seeing you do these things, and they really enjoy that, as well as that you listen to them, and just a ton of positive feedback. So
I appreciate that, and also I would like to give a little credit to my wife Audrey. She's very, very good at helping me keep not grounded, but listen and understand, and see things from different perspectives. And as you know, she spends a ton of time on the mountain and brings back a lot of good feedback that we digest and talk about, and then try to implement. So she's been a huge part of that, and she's also very active in making sure that we are being good stewards of the resort and of to the staff, and she's implemented a lot of things you see as far as the different staff recognition and or just little things like having coffee makers everywhere and stuff like that. So she's been a big part of that. And sometimes I can get a little caught up in the the day-to-day stuff and forget that, and she's always good at reminding me of those things.
Oh, that's awesome. So you and Audrey met up at Stevens Pass, you said.
Yes. Yep.
Can you kind of dive into that story as far as?
We met a couple of years after I'd been up in that area. I think I started in 2011. We met in 2013, and then obviously developed a relationship, and she was a real estate agent in that area, and we met through that through real estate on a couple properties that one we still own, and that moved forward from there. We married in 2016 and have been obviously together ever since. So yeah. It was one of the highlights of being up in that part of the country.
So you and Audrey obviously are a great team and have experienced a lot in the ski industry itself. With this shift that's occurred over the years and kind of these major, you touched on it a little bit earlier, these major, you got Icon or Epic and those major resorts, you focusing on the more family oriented, what draws you and Audrey towards those resorts? Is it being able to establish those relationships with people and making a difference, or is there anything specific?
No, that's a good question. I think basically, the resorts that fall under the radar a little bit of the call it the more mega corporations. They're more family oriented, more locally directed. Serve more of a local call it a traditional market versus a bigger Park City, Tahoe, Summit County, Colorado type areas. So these are areas that fall a little bit under their radar. So that's one of the reasons that I targeted those. Is we aren't in a position, don't want to go toe to toe with Vail or Altera on a project. What I've learned and found is if there's an area they want, they'll figure out how to get it. At least as they were growing, they've some of their growth is slowed now as they are maturing as companies too, and evaluating what makes sense to them and what doesn't make sense to them. But especially during their real growth, spurred of 2017-18 to early COVID or just past COVID, those 2-3 year periods when they wanted to get into a market, they got into a market. So I wasn't going to be, and my investors were not going to be able to compete with that. So, which is an example, squaw, where we were not going to be able to compete on a squaw with them as far as the multiples and what they would pay, because these companies focus more on a market than they do on a ski area. So it's more about buying a market or establishing their product in a market than it is about a specific ski area, where our focus still was on the actual ski area and the attributes of that ski area and the performance of that ski area versus what does it mean to the bigger market. And it makes sense what they do, because they're moving people from East Coast to Colorado, West Coast to Utah to Tahoe to wherever else. So it's important to, and especially when they were both in such a growth mode, they wanted to make sure if one was in the market, the other was too, or they could be the first in that market. So it's different philosophies and different ways, and why these four have come together under this umbrella is that they, again, individually fell a little bit under the radar of these groups, and also didn't necessarily buy or control a market. But we feel that they, given their locations and the proximity to markets, they're great assets.
So starting on the East Coast on a small scale, and then now servicing 30 million people, how has that changed you? What's the tactics from moving from smaller to larger?
I don't think it's that that great. I mean, it's you obviously your marketing is different when you're focused on your location. That's our biggest driver of all four areas is our location. Mountain High is the closest resort to whether it be L.A., San Diego, Santa Barbara market. Easiest drive, closest location. China Peak sits a little bit on. I don't think island is the right word, but it's really if you're going to ski, unless you're going to potentially come to Dodge, but from Fresno, it's an hour and a half away, and everything else is it's a quite a drive away. So it's not like there's a bunch of different options. So it really has a little bit of a monopoly on that market, which we liked, and one of the reasons we liked it. Dodge, same thing, as 5 generations of people who have skied here, has a long history, has great location to the to the valley, to the South Bay, to the whole region, and you're only driving a few miles at or above snow level versus going over passes or other things. And then then Bear Valley has similar type of arteries to the Bay Area, to a little more to Sacramento, and is again a lot easier to drive, a lot less traffic, a lot less hassle than going again over 80, 50, or 88. So that really is our focus is back east, or some of the other ones it was more of a shotgun approach because you're competing against lots of areas. There's more areas per capita in the east than there is anywhere else in the country. I don't know the exact number today, but at one time there was over 70 something areas in the greater New England area. So it was a more of a shotgun approach to how you market it. We're more targeted to the specific areas that our resorts serve via the road structure, whether it be 4, whether it be 108, 168, to China Peak / Fresno, or Southern California, which is again right off the 15 freeway, 5 miles of above 6,000 feet of driving. So it was more focused on the proximity to the markets.
Okay, so picking up these Pacific resorts, you've got 4 of them now, and have established the Cali Pass, and then also are a part of the Powder Alliance, which allows you to go to 20 resorts if you have that Cali Pass. Is there hopes in the future? Is there plans in the future to expand that, or are you kind of happy with where you're at right now?
It's one thing that's great about this industry is kind of like sports teams. They're not making any or making any more so than sports teams because there's expansion. I don't think in our lifetime we'll see on the West Coast, and especially in California, on Forest Service land, a new ski area. So there's a very infinite number of these and opportunities, and quite honestly, there's not a lot left that aren't spoken for, or that we would really do a lot for our portfolio. So you always keep your eyes open. You're always looking at opportunities. You're always kicking tires when there's tires to be kicked, but we all, anybody who knows the industry or is in this business or skis even, you can kind of go around the region and look at what's there and what the ownership structure is, and there's not what the situation with the skier is, and there isn't much that isn't spoken for that you'd probably want to be speaking for. There's a couple out there still, but I'm not sure they would do a lot to our platform. But I think it's more likely to add more and or to work on how the Power Alliance works, try to make that stronger, partner up with maybe another resort or two versus an actual purchase. But again, you never say never, and you always look at opportunities. But there isn't like it's not like it's McDonald's where there's one every corner.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so many out there. So I think right now we're very happy with the 4, and we will look to continue to refine and improve those 4 resorts, and look for opportunities to expand everything from our Powder Alliance, or what that looks like, to potentially potentially add another partner type resort. But again, we'll always keep our eyes open. And one thing we don't want to do is get outside of our geographic area. It doesn't make sense. We've seen different companies, unless it's a large infrastructure or a large conglomerate such as what Vail and El Toro put together, to just have a spattering of ski areas all over the country. Doesn't really, there's not a lot of synergy that comes with that. There's not a lot of marketing clout that comes with that, and you just have a bunch of ski areas, and there's still a couple companies, a handful of companies that have 4, 5, 6 ski areas, but they're spattered from East Coast to West Coast, and those long term, those don't seem to be real successful. We have a strategic plan and want to stick to that, so we wouldn't necessarily want to go pick up something in the middle of Michigan or something like that. We're focused on where it adds value to our current platform.
Absolutely. As we're wrapping up here, what would you say to a young up-and-comer? You started off as a snowmaker and are now in this position, obviously very motivated. What is some advice that you would give to somebody looking to maybe follow in your footsteps or make this a lifelong career as you have?
Get as many diverse experiences as you can. You don't, and it's a whole different world than it was when I got involved. Obviously, technology has come a long way. So much is done, so much differently. But it's the nuts and bolts of a ski resort and operating a ski resort are still fairly similar. And just get as much experience in as many different areas of ski area operations as you can. Don't pigeon yourself whole into one area. Don't just become an instructor. And if you truly want to get to be into senior management, try to explore as many different departments, as many different elements of the ski area as possible. And I would also say, start at a small ski area because at small ski areas you have more opportunities to do more things. If you're working at a large ski area, you're in one department, people aren't going to notice you as much. You're stuck over here on the side, and you may do a great job. Eventually, somebody notices. But if you're a smaller area, you're probably going to be asked to, and you have a lot of ambition. People are going to see that. You're going to get recognized, and you're going to move up into other positions probably faster. So that would probably be right out of college. I had an opportunity at the time, Killington, which is still a large area in Vermont, was and a couple others like that. I had opportunities to go and work in certain departments there, and I always took the path of a smaller area where I could do more and impact more than stuck in one department and probably maybe get lost in the shuffle. So I would say experience as many different departments as you can, be as diverse as you can, and also, if you have the opportunity to pick between a smaller, and you may financially not as rewarding to begin with, but start with a smaller area where you can be more visible and probably get your hands on more things than you can when you're in a larger group, a larger company.
Well, I've got Liftoff, Ski Patrol, and marketing under my belt now, so you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance, yes. There's a chance. There's a chance. There's a chance for anyone who sets their goals. That's what they want to do. I mean, that's number one, is really focus. And if you want to get there, you'll get there, and if you'll figure out how to get there. So, but and again, Dodge is a perfect example. Dodge is a great area. We absolutely love Dodge, and has a great tradition. A lot of like I said, 5-generational. I've run into people who still tell me they started skiing here in 1950 when it started, and so really, Dodge is a perfect example of type of area where you get your hands into a lot of different things, and as you've all seen, so it's a great area, and it's a great area to grow your roots and then move. Either grow up through Dodge or move on. A lot of people from Dodge Ridge have gone on to do lots of things within the ski industry, and that's something I know the past ownership group, or Sally and Frank Helm, are very proud of, and I think Dodge in general should be. As many people have come out of Dodge. Our state lift inspector is originally from Dodge. Jason Smith, who returned to Dodge but was the sales rep for Prenoth in this part of the country. We've had people go on and run other major departments and or ski areas that have come out of Dodge over the last almost 75 years now. So it's Dodge has been influential in not just here locally, but in the ski industry. And it's back to my point. It's a great place to not only start, hopefully move up through and stay, but if not, move use as a stepping stone to other opportunities. So it's a great area where you can get involved in a lot of different things.
Yeah, no, it's a very special place. Very fortunate to work here. Thank you so much for your contributions. And yeah, again, just being humble and leading by example. I really appreciate you sitting down today, and hearing your story has been great. So,
well, I appreciate it. And just a couple closing comments I'll make is we there's still more focus just on Dodge. There's, obviously we're happy with what we've accomplished so far, but there's still a lot more to accomplish, and you always wish you could go a little faster. We're really excited about what we've been able to add in the summer. The summer now having basically being year-round operation now. Obviously, we've always had the campgrounds, but adding the movie theater, adding the activities here at the mountain itself, the mountain biking and all the other summer activities that are going on. So that's really exciting, and we're excited about how the growth in the winter has come about. We think a lot of that has to do with the family vibe and the vibe that you get versus the more I hate to say it, but corporate vibe you get at some of the other larger resorts. So we think that we want to maintain that and just continue to improve the ongoing experience here at Dodge without getting into and making it feel like it's another corporate group. And that's a balance that we I shouldn't say struggle. We strive to make sure we don't cross, and I'm sure at times something like the Cali Pass could initially feel that way, but we want this to be another advantage to our pass, so as not feel like it's another corporate product. So we strive very hard to keep the identities of all four resorts individual, and also maintain their core roots and core values. So that's something that's important to me and important to the group. So we're excited about everything that's already happened at Dodge, and looking forward to the future. And it'll go a long way if it does snow 4 feet on Thursday, and we're able to have a good 3 to 6 week run. That'll go a long way to helping us continue to do the things we want to do here at Dodge.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to experiencing that, and yeah, just thanks again so much for sitting down. So.
Hey, it's been a great opportunity, and thank you for what you all do, and I look forward to when this comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Karl.